Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is Sunday, the 9th of February 2025. Today's video is about the Prophet of Allah. I call him on that video the hypocritical prophet. And the reason here is this actually concerning Salwan Momika, the young man whom was murdered in Sweden about 10 days ago. This young man, he burned the Quran. And actually, even though I disagree with burning any book, even if it's garbage book, I'm not with that. But he bought that book. It is his book. He paid for it. And if he wishes to burn it, it's his business. But they couldn't take that. They couldn't take that, and he ought to die, according to their understanding. They thought he must die. And sure enough, they murdered him. That is a very fortunate thing to happen to this man. The thing is about Salwan Momika and why he was persistent. I don't know him personally, but he was persistent in defying the Muslim and humiliating them by putting dirt on that book, by stepping on it, by burning it in public. I know of many people, I have seen many people burn that book and step on it and put garbage on it. And they do that once and it's finished. They made their point and it's done. However, Salwan Momika did that many times. And on a special occasion, during the gathering of Muslims to celebrate special occasion, he would do that. My understanding, I think, I don't know him personally, but I can kind of like sense, because he was in Iraq at the time when ISIS took over Iraq and Syria. And these people, they act worse than wild animals, because some animals have kind of like respect for one another. These people, I shouldn't call them people. These creatures, they did atrocity similar to that it was done 1400 years ago. Not as bad, but similar. So let's go 1400 years ago. We find that the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, took Safiya bint Huyay, that beautiful young lady, Jewish young lady, and he violated her. After the murder of all of her tribe, the men in her tribe were all murdered in front of her. And the Muslim, they dare to come out, they say, she fell in love with him. You know, I know some Jewish women, sometimes they love Muslim men. Maybe they like him or some, yeah. And some men, Muslim men, they sometimes fall in love with Jewish women. I understand that. I understand that. There is nothing wrong with that. I hope the Palestinians and the Israeli would marry from each other, so that this animosity will disappear. Instead of making two-state stuff, let them marry each other. The child or the children from this marriage will never want to destroy the Jews or the Palestinians. But because the Prophet of Allah told them that these are filthy, infidel, Very few people come out of this garbage. They entertain this idea that the Jews and the Christian, the Buddhist, the Hindu are all filthy, unholy. Only us holy. And we die for the sake of Allah. So anyway, if you marry this way, fine. But you tell me that somebody comes and kill all of my family and I will marry this person? I must be crazy or something wrong with my head. Or I go and murder the tribe of a woman and she falls in love with me. Even if she was previously in love with me, she will hate my guts. That's her family. That is her father and brother who took care of her as she was growing up. That was her uncle. No, no. So anyway, we're going to look at the hypocritical prophet of Allah. The Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, he said in one of his hadith, I'm going to leave it in the description box, those who ever change their religion, murder them, kill them. There is no middle ground. It is clear command from Allah, and the Prophet of Allah left us that command very clear, to murder those who leave the religion of Allah. So many of the people of the Middle East region where Islam is prevalent, they would actually leave Islam. Saudi Arabia is the most growing country, Islamic country in atheism. Many of the Saudi young people, young men and women, left this nonsense and they became either Christian or atheist. I know of a Kuwaiti influential woman, she became Jewish. This is to a Muslim is better that if she dies. Christian may be a little bit accepted, but to become a Jew, woof. So many of the Muslim who left Islam in this region, they just don't say anything because they know if they open their mouth, they will be murdered. Look at Sharif Gaber. And before him, there was also a young man, his name is Ahmad Khan. This young man, he had to walk from Egypt all the way south to the heart of Africa and then head west and go all the way up north until he made it to Tunisia, walking for days. And his life was on the line because he was prevented from traveling. And if he goes outside in public, he would be murdered. Ahmad Khan and Sharif Gaber, and there are so many. If they open their mouth, the consequence is painful. So many people, if they talk, they actually have a mask. They cover their face with a mask so that nobody can tell who they are, and they express their opinion, which is okay. I mean, no one wants to be murdered. And some migrate to another country and speak freely like Salwan Momika, like myself, but also your life is on the line. But many of us actually, it's okay to, because in that case really, if you die for a higher purpose, then you are a martyr. It's not like I want to be a martyr or Salwan Momika wanted to be a martyr. I don't think Salwan Momika wanted to be a martyr. But it is better to live free than to be a slave to this nonsense. Okay? And this is what he did. And this is what many people are doing. They put their life on the line. to speak about this nonsense. So for Muslims, according to the teaching of the Prophet of Allah, it is better for a Muslim person not to speak his mind and to say, I don't believe that this is a religion or something, or I don't believe in God and therefore I'm not going to follow this religion or any other religion. It is better to be hypocritical. It's better to shut your mouth, pretend that you are Muslim, pretend that you are one of us, so that we can say we are 2 billion people on earth. Okay? And continue doing this and pretend that you are Muslim than saying the truth. What is the consequence of such behavior? What is the consequence of such behavior? It is actually terrible. It is terrible. Why? Because people are living in an illusion. That means if I pretend, because I'm afraid, let's say I'm still living in Egypt, I don't believe in this nonsense, and I want to get married. I cannot say I want to marry a woman from, let's say I became a Christian or I became Jewish, but it's between me and myself. No one else knows. I cannot ask for a Jewish wife or a Christian wife or an atheistic wife. As a Muslim, I must marry a Muslim. And according to Islam, if I marry a Muslim, this is called zina. Zina means illegitimate relationship, and therefore the children born of this relationship are illegitimate children, or rather the word will be used, bastards, and therefore they cannot inherit my name, they cannot inherit my wealth, they cannot, and I have nothing to do with them. So practically that faith, or if you want to call it faith or religion, is encouraging people to lie and be hypocritical. Because if you speak the truth and say, I don't believe in this nonsense, you will be killed. And they liken that to the many now they say, oh, this, we kill those who leave Islam because you are like, let's say if you are a spy and you change allegiance or leave your that group and go on your own, you could actually give all these secrets that you know. But when a Christian become a Muslim, they make a party and they advertise it, and you don't say, oh, he is giving the secrets of Christianity, or a Jew becomes a Muslim. You advertise it and you don't say, oh, he ought to be killed because he is giving the Jewish secret, the secret of the Jewish faith out to other people, and therefore he ought to be killed. Only if a Muslim leaves this nonsense, you put that heavy penalty on him or her to be murdered, because you say he is like a spy now. A spy who is going to give the secrets of the country to other country. No, a spy, I understand, a spy is to be punished, because a spy, when you give, each country has certain secret not to be shared with everyone, even not with the public. And therefore, if you're a spy, or you have let's say a former president of the United States goes to live in another country, or not necessarily the president, any person with secret information in one country, if he goes to give these secrets to other countries, that will cause harm to the other country, to one country, the country that the secret of this country is opened. Let's say they produce certain airplane or cannon or submarine, that it is advanced, and you give the secret how it is done, you are causing harm to your country. And before entering, they make it very clear that you are not to share any of this information with the enemy. But religion, faith, is supposed to be for everyone. You know everything about Islam and how Islam is done, and the Muslim, how they worship and stuff like that. Why, when he leaves, the Prophet of Allah says the penalty is death. And now you are encouraging the people to pretend that they are in that faith. And even Saudi Arabia, where Islam was born, more atheist than Muslim. But because you are intimidating the people. Actually, many of them also are Christian. But because you are intimidating the people of the country, I mean, who is in his right mind would want to be murdered in that fashion as Salwan Momika was shot in a close range, murdered? No one. So what they do is they stay quiet. But then when they go and get married, what if I deny Islam and I go to Muslim, they marry Muslim. It's the same with Christian. Christian known to marry of their own people, marry Christian, and the Jewish they marry most of the time. But specifically Muslim, they don't like to marry of other faith. So let's say I'm from Egypt and we have arranged marriage until now, and let's say I kept my understanding about this religion, if you want to call it, to myself. And then my parents want me to get, I'm in the age of marriage, and my parents suggest a Muslim woman for me. They are not going to suggest a Jewish woman or a Christian woman, but a Muslim woman for me to marry her. I can't tell her that I'm not a believer. And if I must marry, I will marry. But according to Islam, this is not marriage because I'm not Muslim. She is not supposed to marry non-Muslim. And the children born of that relationship, they are called the bastards. And her life with me is a forbidden one. It is unholy. So, all of that is happening because people are afraid to speak their mind. And therefore, this is honestly like a living hell. Because they cannot speak their mind. That's number one. Number two, imagine for anyone who wants to get married and he doesn't believe in this nonsense. It is very hard to find a woman who does not believe in this nonsense because you are not supposed to speak about it. So you can't find a woman who has similar thinking to yours. So you will have to settle with a Muslim woman. How would this woman feel when she finds out? You see, you are really creating a terrible circumstances because you are afraid. Because you know this faith, if you want to call it faith, you call it religion, call it whatever you want, is so weary and so weak, and it will collapse on its own pretty soon. Thank you very much. We hope to hear from you. Please subscribe, share, and write a comment. Thank you.